Well, folks, like it or not, it's Friday. It's Friday. It's an oddly humid Friday here in Colorado.
For Colorado. It's 24% humidity, but we're used to zero, so I'm really hot.
Yeah, I'm from here, so humidity feels different, but you know, whatever. Whatever. It's a Friday, and I hope you're having a good Friday. And look at my hair. My hair's sticking up in 4 different directions. Oh well.
Oh well.
What are you gonna do? Any case, how about this? Let's all get our heads straight and do a wrist check. Okay. I would encourage people, by the way, post your own wrist shots down below. I'd like to see what you're wearing. So if you have the time, put up a wrist shot and we'll talk about it. We're doing wrist check ahead of time.
Whoa.
You're wearing the Alba. What do they call the Alba robot? I think they call this thing.
It looks like an alien.
It does look like an alien. These are really cool. JDM, incredible quality. They're hard to find. I think these were made in the 90s. It's a super cool watch. I'm just glad you like it. And I'm gonna get some hate mail, but I am still wearing my Marine
Do people
Master.
seriously yell at you about it?
No, I just feel like I should be, I've got a bunch of watches and, I have more than one watch and I don't need to wear the same one for months at a time, but I just keep wearing this one. Every time I look at it, I'm like, that is a really, really, really fine watch. The only watch that I've been considering is this one. I've had it in my project watch drawers. This is a really early Seikomatic with the 850 movement, which later became it's like a 6216. It's a 39 jewel movement. So this is unserviced. It's just such an elegant watch. It's so beautifully made. And every time I look at it, I'm like, I should do that. I'm going to have to underloom the hands, though, so that I can see the glow at night, but it'll look stock during the day. Anyway, that's my current theory. Well, I'm ready whenever you are.
I'm ready.
Okay.
From mail call, whenever we did it. Ryan
2
Walters.
weeks ago?
Don't worry about the hair, buddy. I shaved my beard one time, and both my wife and daughter forced me to grow it back and hide my face again.
Oh, I mean, you are already an attractive young man, and I can't even imagine how just stunning you were without your facial hair. I know you probably looked like you were 12. I don't know what I would look like without mine.
Well, just look at some old pictures.
They have to be really old. I've had the beard long enough now that I'm actually significantly older than when I first got it. So I probably look a little strange.
Probably.
I need to trim my beard anyway. One of these days.
I like a good beard. Ensoni Gray. I don't know. Reducer. I was at City Park for the 4th too. I was there to watch my brother, who plays bass in the band the Patti Fiasco. I'm back in New York now, but I always enjoy visiting Colorado. So, obligatory, where in New York are you from?
Yes, where New Yorker from? Because
I'm from New York.
it's true, she's from New York.
Not New York City.
Not New York City. And what's also interesting coincidence is her aunt's name is Patty.
Spelled that way.
Patti. So you see, it's all together.
Yep.
Okay, well that's cool. I'm glad you were here. It's always funny to think of. Sorry, I keep doing this. My hair, it feels funny. It always amazes me that anybody comes here. I mean, it astonishes me that anybody thinks about Fort Collins at all, and yet it's people just keep coming here and doing stuff, and it's not like the old days. I mean, imagine coming from New York to here. Who does that?
Me. Heart over specs. I wish I liked the bracelet more on my SBD X017 so I could wear it more. Instead, I enjoy wearing it on its rubber strap, but only for a day or two. It's a heavy watch.
It is a heavy watch. It's my one. I mean, this thing is a solid chunk of steel, and I don't wear it on its rubber strap actually because I think the rubber strap, it has really big. It's a vented type, so it has this. If you cut it through the cross section of the end of the strap, it has these big U sections. It's like a stretchy bit, and they're really thick, and so it makes the strap actually stand out really big unless you crank that rubber strap down, and the rubber they used is kind of hard. So I never used those straps, but it changes the whole look of the watch. Honestly, the watch is already has sort of a smallish look on the wrist. It's not overpowering visually. The visual size is not big. You put this on a strap and it's even smaller. It's true.
Biff Tannen BTTF. I watched the second one on an airplane recently.
Did you? Yes, that's right. You did.
Back to the Future.
And then Sebastian watched Back to the Future on his own like a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
He was watching the first one like last week when I was working.
Oh. Have you seen the new Kranz reissue SRPL91? Check it out.
Yes, I have, and I'm going to put it in a teeny tiny segment. Okay, here we are. This is the new Gene Kranz SRP L91. 440 USD, that's not bad. Now, the hour and minute hands look like they were correct. They look sharp-edged with this nice, flat-edged. The sweep hand is rounded on top, which I wish they didn't do, but these 62 MAS style hands were processed with the sharp edge up and the rounded edge up, just how they were stamped out. Seiko used both versions, even in the same models. The loom color is correct. It's sort of a tannish green that looks right. The insert looks perfect. It even looks like it's got a little bit of the anodized grain to it, which is what we want. It's got the two-tone of the day wheel and date wheel, which is correct for 6119, which is what this would have been originally. They, of course, have the crown at 445, something like that. I wish they went with the crown at 4. I just think it's better looking. It's more symmetrical, but at least they kept this. It's got another one of, I'm assuming that it's got, it's not a plastic crystal, it's hard legs. Let's look at the pictures. Limited edition of 10,000. I guess that's a limited edition. I'd be curious to see, because I had that Sport Diver reissue, and the way the crystal looked and the chapter ring, it messed up all the proportions. And I own it, and I've never been able to wear it. They did the bracelet right. I don't know, that's a handsome looking watch. Do you have any more pictures of it? That's the best example they could get of this model? That's the best they could do. Look at the thing, it's beaten to death. Why would they use this? This is Seiko's original thing. I've got better examples of this model. Look. They didn't even bother to get this straight and aligned. What they do, just go and dig around in the drawers down at HQ until they found something? It is going to be one thing I'm curious about. You can see, stop that. You can see the way these original dials were done, it's a loom well. So this is actually inset inside the marker, which is then filled. That's the way Seiko used to always do it. Now, what they've been doing in modern days is they just have a solid metal marker and they print loom on top of it. I don't know which one of these it's going to be. Seiko's dial precision was amazing. The work they did was astonishing. But I don't know that they are going to keep doing that. Let's see if we got any shadows on here that'll tell us anything. It might be recessed. I'm not sure. The hands look good. Bidirectional rotating bezel, faithfully recreated. Okay, so it's just a sliding, non-clicky. Box-shaped dual hardlex, it's glass. Modern engineering updates, 10-bar water resistance. 100 meters, it's basically splash edition. Automatic manual winding, which I like. It's hacks, which I like. Oh, look at that, 38.2 millimeters. It's a good size. 44, that's a good size. It's not too thick. 3 full clasp distance between lugs, 20 millimeters. I think it's going to be a winner. I would like to see one. I would like to see one. But so far I've heard some people who have them and they say it's great.
True Blue Miata. Hello, I have a 6138 UFO that gets worn a few days every month or two. It was serviced by a mutual acquaintance several years ago. All was well until recently when the top subdial hands stopped hitting 0 on reset, instead always stopping at 12:30. Otherwise, it appears to run well. What are the possible causes of this problem? Could it be a failing chrono wheel? Sidebar, I'd be perfectly happy to have the subdial hands repositioned to 0 for aesthetic reasons since I don't use the chrono function.
Okay, so here's the thing. First, we want to test to see, does the hand always return to that spot? So it's going to be tough, but if you leave the chronograph running until the 12-hour hand gets past the 30-minute mark on its, so it's more than halfway back around to coming up to top dead center again, and see if the hand centers. So basically the hand is past that 30 point, and you reset it. You want to see if it still resets from the other side back to 0. If it does, probably what happened is that the hand just spun on the pinion of that wheel, and it just needs to be set correctly. I mean, if the watch was here, I could do it in maybe 10 or 15 minutes. It's not tough. You pull off the winding weight and everything else, and you've got your correct Seiko movement holder, and you put it in, you pull that hand off, you drop it on correctly. The only other thing, it's extremely rare chance that the wheel itself, that's the wheel with the heart wheel and the pinion, if the pinion came loose on the wheel part, I have seen that, but gosh, not very often. It's much more likely that the hand tube loosened up. That's my take on it.
Talking Time Horology. Good afternoon. I have a question for mail call. Would you be able to talk about and or show a Seiko Champion 1962 non-alpinist? He had 2 questions, so I'll stop there.
Do I have a Seiko Champion non-alpinist?
1962.
I don't believe I do. That's a pretty kind of a specialty thing. Specialty watch. What was the question? Was there a specific question?
Would you be able to talk about and or show one?
I can talk about them. It's early in Seiko's time. They used earlier movements. It's before they kind of really hit their stride in terms of their golden age, which I have always thought of as starting around the 1964 Olympics. But 62, 63, Seiko is making, great watches. That particular watch is, I believe, a hand wind only. They came, I believe, with a 6600 movement. I'm just guessing. They're great watches. I mean, there's not much else to say. They're an early watch. They're going to have a sealed crown with a sealed gasket. So if you want to really wear it and not worry so much about it, you've either got to have the crown rebuilt or find an NOS one that has a good gasket in it. But once serviced, I mean, they're great watches. People wore them and wore them and wore them and wore them and wore them. I will dig a deep dive through just in case, but I really don't think I've got one. But if I do, I'll talk about it.
Okay, and then the next part of his question is the Seiko Champion 1962 with the Seiko Shaw 54 movement non-alpinist 17 jewel rare with a non-alpinist dial, but it has the same layout. I cannot find any info about it. On the case it has the code J15004E, and it does not have a serial number on it. Can you shed any light on the watch? The reason I am asking is because I just bought one for $60. It has a silver tan dial and a lot of patina and is a bit faded. Thank you very much for reading this very long question/comment.
Okay, so the J models, remember I was talking before, just a little bit before, about Seiko and their golden age. Part of the thing with their golden age is they changed how their serial numbers and everything worked. they had, like, the model was that. It was J150, or whatever the heck it was. And in the early 60s, that's what Seiko did. The serial number is going to be, or should be, on the inside of the case back. That's where they serialed them, as far as I understand it. They're good movements. They're 18,000 BPH, which some people sniff at, but it's perfectly fine. In service, they're great, and for $60, man, you did fine. I'm assuming it's a runner, being a Seiko, but yeah, no, you did fine. For $60, absolutely. Where'd it come from? I'm curious about that. All right.
Matt Ostrowski.
Hello, Mr. Ostrowski.
Spencer, possibly a question for your Friday video. With a watch like my 6139 that will get regular weekly wear, if not daily, what's your advice on service? There are folks who say wear your watch until it clearly needs service, and there are folks who say service your watch regularly to avoid bigger expenses later. Are the rules different for vintage versus new? Who is right? I really appreciate you and Sabrina. Enjoy, quote unquote, seeing you each week.
Oh, that's nice. I'm glad you watched. Thanks. I appreciate that. Okay, so most of the deal with modern servicing intervals is that it's down to the volatile elements in the lubricants outgassing away. Used to be in the old days, if you use natural lubricants, is the volatiles would go off and it would leave behind like tarry, gummy residue stuff left behind, and the watches would start running terribly when the lubricants dried up and went away. These days, modern lubricants for the most part just go away. Sometimes, like, I pulled a watch apart, they'll dry up, the modern lubricants, and if the watch was kind of running dirty inside, you'll see little rings around where the dust material that got caught in that lubrication and dried stuck to the jewels and the bushings would still be in there. 5 years is a rule of thumb based on the life of the lubricants. If you're wearing a watch a lot and you're really giving it a hard time, you might think about it sooner. But really, honestly, for myself, I wear them until I start to notice that there's a big problem. And then if I notice that it's acting weird, I do some research and I find out how long it's been since I serviced them. And if it starts getting into the 5 year, 6 year range, I stop wearing the watch and I make a point to make a note somewhere that at some point I should probably service the thing. That's what I say about it. But watches don't really wear out as such, except for like a few key parts, like on a 6000 series that hasn't had the mainspring arbor ends upgraded with jewels, that, you know, the arbors are still going to wear and stuff like that. If the watch was run really dirty and run really dry, you're going to start getting all kinds of bad wear to the pivots and stuff. Just take care of the watch, and when 5 years have gone by, start thinking about service, and if it's acting like it needs service, that's probably a good call.
Joseph Stewart. Hey SNS. Firstly, I just recently turned 40 on the 28th of June.
Congratulations.
My wife organized a surprise party for me at my brother-in-law's pub, and boy, was it fun. A room full of over 100 of my family and friends from my entire life.
Wow.
So much fun. To celebrate my 40th, I gifted myself a SSK 003 GMT. I love it. I'm more of a vintage Seiko guy, but this one is awesome. I currently have the GMT hand set to Denver, Colorado time in honor of the House of Klein.
Well, that's funny. Yeah, well, they're cool. I'm glad you're enjoying a modern Seiko.
Question. How do you believe the NH34 movement stacks up with the other post-SUA movements? Don't think it will be robust enough to stand the test of time like the 7002 and 7S26 movements. Lots of love from the Aussie Bush.
No. They should be fine. They're Seikos, from what I have seen, with my limited understanding, their R&D, their tech is great. Where they have had problems, as far as I've seen, was in execution, was QC, specifically around things like their automatic lubrication machines that they use when they're running. Seriously, whenever I've found one of these things, these movements, and it's new and it has problems, and I've looked at it every single time, it's a lubrication issue. So I think the movements are perfectly fine. I think if they're serviced properly, you will get great service out of them. When I've serviced modern 4R or 6R movements, I can get very, very solid amplitude and accuracy out of them. They come unadjusted, and they're not really QC'd at all. They just turn the machines on and crank out a ton of movements, and then that's it. But I think Technoids, they're great.
MGAN8H, hi SNS. The other day I saw a very cool old man in his 80s rocking a cool 6138 UFO.
Wow.
With the classic fashion of wearing the very loose bracelet. For sure he got it maybe 50 years ago, so this made me think, which Seiko model would someone have bought nowadays and kept wearing non-stop for 50 years and be perfectly working today and still be cool and attractive to vintage watch collectors like us?
SKX 007.
That's what I was thinking. Well, before I saw the Seiko model, I was like, people are going to be wearing their G-Shocks forever.
Well, that's true. But for vintage Seiko, SKX 007, and the thing is, recently, I think because of economic uncertainty everywhere, kind of the watch market is it seems to me, it's kind of depressed a little bit, and prices have dropped generally across the board. You can get an SKX 007 now in excellent condition for $300 and $400. I mean, like, they dropped. Like, you could really get one. And if you don't feel like getting a SKX 007 because they're played out or everybody wears them, get an SKX like 173, the one with the square markers. Those are really cool, and they replicate the look of the 6309 slim cases. There's a lot of those out there. There's a number of the SKX models that really are insanely affordable, and Seiko made a ton of them, so that's what I would suggest.
Seiko 6309, 150 meter diver, manual winding, and care of the screw down crown. Jesus Correa, I can't roll my R's, I am so sorry.
What's the name?
I can't roll my R's. Jesus
Correa?
Correa.
Jesus Correa.
I can't roll my R's. I fail.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
Just got a 6309-729A Seiko automatic. Looked it up, ended up here. Mine is a December 84, all original, gently worn and hidden for a spell. I am a Citizen Eco Drive kid, finally growing up. LOL, thanks for the video and tip, Spencer.
Nah, watches are outstanding. There's no such thing as growing up. I mean, your tastes can change, but a Citizen Eco Drive is an entirely reasonable choice. I mean, what did I see? Who did an AMA on Reddit yesterday, or was it today? The guy who played from Parks and Rec.
Ron Swanson?
Ron Swanson, the actor who played Ron Swanson. That actor, his own personal watch is a Citizen Eco Drive, and it was his own watch, and he just wore it, and he still wears it to this day. And so, you're in good company with Ron Swanson, I think. Oh, I meant to say, pretty rare, 6309-729A Pepsi, and yours is all original, right? They just didn't make very many of them. I mean, you can get a 6309 cushion case. They're easy to find, relatively speaking. You have to fight for good quality and that kind of stuff. But 6309 slim cases, they're just hard to find, because at that point, Seiko was all in on quartz. Instead, they were pushing the 7548s, which were built on exactly the same platform as the 6309s. Their movements will interchange and everything else like that. And so Seiko was swinging for the fences with quartz, and those 6309 automatics kind of got put to the on the other side of the burner. They were made in Hong Kong. They weren't produced in Japan, but the quality is outstanding, and they just didn't make them for very long. So they're very worth picking up.
Jeb Stewart 3. This is exactly why solar Seikos are better. They're more accurate, they tend not to lose time, and you don't have to play dumb games like shaking the watch. I need a watch to work, full stop, not one that I've got to play silly games with.
It depends. A watch is for people. Different people have different expectations for what a watch is going to do. I like automatic watches myself personally because I like the sort of the physical interaction with of myself with the watch movement itself, and I can get a little feel of that with with Seiko Eco Dries, because of course they're a hybrid, they're kinetic. They've got a weight and it spins around. It's not for everybody, but different strokes.
KVW presents a very Seiko catalog. To Cath39126. I love these Seiko catalog videos.
I'm glad, and thanks for letting me know that. And the reason I'm saying that is because a lot of times when I'm going to make content, I don't set out to say, well, I've got to think of something. I've got to make some content. I make content when it occurs to me to make something when I'm interested in something. And so I've often thought about just, having a regular feature of going through and looking at this or that catalog, but I don't know that people would really be interested in watching them. I think because it's usually just boils down to me scrolling through and talking about which one I've had or which one I've seen or it's something that I know about or did I have that bracelet. If that stuff is interesting, I think it's interesting. If you want to see that stuff, let me know about it and I can make more content.
4WNM, Seiko 75497010 300 meter restoration. Parietal. I had a question about the 75497010 hands. Did 75497010 have rainbow hands originally? I had one 75497000 and one 75497009. Both of them were rainbow hand. One 75497010 bought from a Japan auction several days ago. It was a shining silver hands. I'm wondering that if the hands were changed or not.
Okay, I'm going to make a little segment about this and then we'll come back and say goodbye. Okay, so here we have 7549 golden tuna and 7549 300 meter tuna, though this is my own example, which I built out of parts. So you'll notice this isn't a quartz, it's an automatic, because I built it out of pieces over the course of years gathering, but it's all original, 100%. But I didn't destroy a watch to make this. It's its own creation. Anyway, look at the hands. See their high polish? See those high polish hands? Let me see if I can get this a little tighter. Okay, well these are correct hands for the 7549 7010. That's what they look like. The hands for the 7549 7000 7009 are the same outline. They have the same windows and everything else like that, but the surface it's not even brushed. It's like machined. It's all these fine lines. Seiko tried to do, you see those hands there? See how they're kind of, they've got the fine scribed lines. It's like that, but even more precise. And for some reason, it gives off a little bit of an iridescent look. I don't know why, but it does. Pretty cool watches, though, don't you think? No? Not. Nope, wrong one. There. Good. Now we're all up to speed. What great watches.
I just said rainbow hands, and now we decided to record.
Well, I'm because I will have already put in a segment that I've already explained it. I don't think Seiko set out to make the hands on the golden tuna iridescent. It's just some reason, somehow they made the surfaces of the hands brushed sideways, almost like they're machined sideways. And they refract, and they have this like rainbowy look to them. I don't know why. I don't know if it was deliberate or what the deal was, but there it is. It's just one of those things. And so whenever I'm working on a golden tuna, oh my goodness, do I need to be careful, because nobody makes replacement hands. And it's tough. Thankfully, those tunas, 600 meter depth resistance, generally have survived well because they have such high depth resistance and they can persevere, unlike, say, something like, a 7A, which has a bunch of different more holes into the case with all the different buttons, and they don't ever get, and then they go bad. Or a 6105 slim case, because you have to replace the whole crown, and then the watch itself gets ruined loom. That's generally not true with 7,009s, and that's why, because they're so heavily built. Anyway, that's about it. That's the end of it.
Okay.
I think we're done for the week.
Yes,
We are?
I believe so.
Well, folks, so everybody has to cross their fingers and hope. Sebastian and I have been trying for 3 weeks.
I think like a month at this point.
There's a guy in town who has his own private junkyard. It is huge. It's a huge private junkyard. It used to be an open business. Now it's basically open by invitation only. I've been trying to get there for a month. The guy is just never open. If it's raining or if he wants to go home early, and he lives at the junkyard. He lives in a house in the middle of the junkyard. He just doesn't unlock the gate. And so I've been calling him, trying to get down. He said that he might be back there at 2 o'clock today, and I might have 2 or 3 hours that I can get to work and strip out some stuff from some of the MGs he's got in his junkyard. And we'll see. So cross your fingers and toes for me. If I can, I'll make a separate MG video showing the junkyard.
Okay. But
Okay.
who knows?
Who knows? All right, folks. Thank you so much for watching. I sincerely appreciate it. Keep on buying watches, talking about watches. Put pictures of your watches down below. Let me see them. We can talk about them. I think it'd be cool. That's it. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.